listen, I watched this documentary this morning.
Hmm.
There were moments where I was in tears. I was laughing. It was so timely. I wasn't expecting how this documentary would resonate with my soul deeply. I was
Oh,
like bawling at points because there were so many moments where it was like, I relate to this, I relate to this, I relate to this. And all these talented people have come together to share how so many of us have this in common. So
mm,
thank you for your share and participating in this, right?
worries. I'm glad you felt something.
Man, deeply.
Yeah,
I felt something, it was magical.
it's great.
And you
Great.
know what's wild is I woke up this morning. I started my work day yesterday, last night. I did all of this work and woke up this morning and it did none of it saved. So I was in tears that I had to do 2 hours more work again. Then I put on that documentary and laughed, and it just lifted the spirit. So
Okay,
it
you're
came at the
saying
perfect time.
comedy made you feel better, is what
Yes,
you're saying. Okay,
yes. At the
okay.
same time, it was
That's
therapeutic at
absolutely
the
fine.
same time. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Ah,
right?
job done. That's literally why I wanted to be in it. So thanks. I
You're
appreciate
welcome. This fabulous group therapy, as I just stated, brings comedians together to talk candidly about mental health. So my first question for you, Miss, what drew you personally to this project? What made you feel like this was the right space and moment for you to open up about your own experiences?
Honestly, I wasn't 100% sure it was the right space and the right time. I was very nervous going into it. I've always been a very positive person. People that followed my career since I'm 35. So I've been doing comedy and entertaining since I was 19. And I've always been like happy-go-lucky and joyful and positive and living my best life. And I'm a bad bitch and all of this stuff. And I've never like really talked about the other side of that and feeling like not good enough and insecure. And I have my book was out, Live My Best Life, Hun, where I talk about it in the book at great detail. And writing the book made me realize actually I should speak about this more. So when this opportunity had come for me to literally talk about a side of me and my career I've never actually spoken about or said out loud, I was like, yeah, I'll do it. And luckily, I was around other people that also have lived the same kind of life as me and had big things to share as well. Like, I thought I was going through stuff. When I heard their stories, I was like, oh, okay. My problems, I mean, everyone's got their own problems, but my problems are nothing compared to what they're going through. So it's just so nice to realize, like, sometimes you get in your head about things, you think it's just me, or it's just me that feels this way, or it's just me that's going through it. And yeah, it was really therapeutic to know that like we're all going through stuff and we all feel this way, and it's okay to feel this way, you know? So yeah, that's
That
what
was actually my next question, but you just answered it. I was going to ask you, were there moments in the film that surprised you and how comedy and vulnerable, why can't I talk today?
oh no,
Vulnerability,
vulnerable. Yes.
how they
Oh,
intersect.
yes. So I am vulnerable about my sex life and my dating life. If you watch my comedy special, I am happy to talk about fellatio and guys I've slept with, but I've never like been vulnerable enough to be like, I don't think I'm beautiful. And there's times where I believed I was not good enough and not worthy and things like that. And I think being able to pick at your life and make fun of certain parts of your life and make fun of yourself is a way of therapy. It helps. So the fact that I can talk so openly about my sex life is that is therapy. So it did feel like therapy, just coming clean about my insecurities and being funny with it and making jokes off of it. And everybody was like, they would say their story, then there'd be a joke. And they say their story and there'd be a joke. It was never just like, I'm so sad and this is it. We always found the humor in everything, and it really helped. I think it's really important. My mom always says, if you don't laugh, you'll cry. So I'm always laughing.
Yeah, I think that's what I really appreciated about this piece is the ways in which the comedians used comedy to cope with their mental health journeys,
Yeah.
right? And being very honest and open with their audiences about their pain.
Yeah.
Because you never know, like you just said, we often feel so alone in what we're going through, but you never know how your share helps those who you share it with, right?
100. Yeah.
Um, so obviously you share this space with other powerhouse comedians. So
Mhm.
what was that dynamic like in that group therapy setting? I mean, did you learn anything new about your peers? Obviously you did, as you just stated, or learn anything new about yourself through the conversations that unfolded?
Yeah, I learned that we literally all have the same life. Like we all feel the same way. There's part of the film where Neil Patrick Harris is talking about him going to the Vanity Fair Oscar party. And that really resonated with me because I remember like I've never been, but I remember being like, I can't wait to go. And he told me that like he couldn't wait to go to the party. He'd never been invited. And one year he got invited. He was so happy he was there. But then he saw a VIP section and he couldn't get into that section. So it kind of ruined it for him. And so he was like, next year I'm going to get invited. I'm going to go to the VIP. Then he went to the VIP section. And then in the VIP section, he was like, yeah, I've made it. And then everyone left the VIP section, went to Madonna's party, and he couldn't get into that. And it was just like, he was mad about that. And it was just like, yes, literally how I feel. I remember being like, oh, once I get a Netflix special, I will feel like the most accomplished comedian in the world. All I need is a Netflix special. Then I got a Netflix special, and I'm like, okay, why don't I feel accomplished? And I was like, I'm gonna write a book. And once I become an author, with a Netflix special, I'll feel like the most. Now I have a book. No, I still don't feel accomplished. Now it's like I've got a movie. I'm working on a movie right now, and I believe once I have this movie, I'll feel accomplished. I probably won't. There's probably no end to it. And I realized that if even Neil Patrick Harris, at his big age, with all of his fame, feels this way, then it's totally okay for me, newbie in America, to feel this way too. And that really resonated with me. And then Nicole Byer's stories about being Black in entertainment in America mirrored mine about being Black in entertainment in Britain. And I didn't realize that, yeah, the massive problem in both countries when it comes to women of color in front of a camera. So I learned about that. And just Tig coming forward with everything that she was dealing with at that time and being brave enough to go on stage and speak about her mother's death. My brother just passed away a month ago, and I haven't done stand-up comedy since. And I don't know if I can, but knowing that Tig went on stage, what, a week, 2 weeks after her mother's death and made jokes makes me feel like I can do it. But yeah, it's inspiring. All the stories were inspiring.
I want to ask you something that you mentioned in the film and that you just touched on now. And you were talking about your struggles navigating, like elevating yourself and your brand as a Black comedian and watching your white peers just excel while you were coming up. And you thought, it's going to be different in America. Let me get to America. They handle race and Blackness and diversity a little bit different. So now that you're kind of navigating the scene in America, are you noticing change? I mean, are you noticing a
Totally,
difference? Is it the
totally.
same? Or is the struggle the
Yeah.
same?
No, 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 no. Now, let's be clear. Outside of entertainment, I cannot speak on the struggle for Black Americans. I think it's way worse if you're not in entertainment to just operate in Black America versus operating in Black Britain because of the how blatant the racism is in America for Black people. Whereas England, the racism isn't as blatant. Like when we're not going to call you the N word to your face. We're not going to. British people are very passive aggressive, so the racism will happen behind closed doors. But the racism is very it's insidious. It's institutional. It's like built in. There's no way of getting over it. Whereas in America, there is racism, but you can be Beyonce, you can be Oprah, you can be Jay-Z. Britain, we have no Black billionaires. We don't have a Oprah. We don't have a Beyonce. We don't have a Jay-Z. And so, as a Black person in entertainment, I was watching all my white friends, white male friends especially, in comedy, just go on to live their dreams. And I just knew that nobody would allow me to live my dreams in the UK because no one has no black like there's no one I could look to and go, I want their career because it's just not a thing. Every famous Black British person has to go over to America first. Idris Elba would not have been Idris Elba if he didn't come over to America. He was already working in TV in the UK. He was on a soap called Family Affairs, and he was not famous in the UK. And then he came over to America. Now he's famous in the UK. Daniel Kaluuya was not famous in the UK before Get Out. Then he came over to America. Now he's famous in the UK. So London Hughes is watching this and going, London Hughes is going to need to come to America. And within my first year of moving to America, I had a Netflix special and I was hosting the Netflix after party on Netflix with Fortune Feimster and David Spade within my first year. And that year was also a global pandemic. So I was like, look what I did in a global pandemic. Clearly, America's where I'm supposed to be. And I could never live in the UK ever again. I love it here.
What do you hope viewers take away from group therapy, especially those who might be struggling in silence?
I really hope it encourages them to not struggle in silence, to actually say something. I think conversation is key. Just seeing people talk candidly about something you are suffering with inside internally could help you come forward and speak to friends or family members. If not that, just to really listen and enjoy and understand that we're not alone in this and we're all going through something. And if anything any of us say can help make a day better, like we made your day better, and will make you smile or make you think, then yeah, our job's done.
Right on.